Alright, in this video we're going to be talking about how to lay out your vector portrait so that you can be purposed. Basically, we're creating a magazine bio. It's supposed to be a magazine spread, similar to a assignment that we have in another class actually, but it just seemed like the best way to do it. So I stole this off the internet, by the way. I've got a ton of vector portraits I've made myself. I'm sure you've seen them in class. You've seen some of my examples, but I just, I just didn't have one available to me here on my home computer, so I figured why not just grab something. So here we go. I'm going to pop in well, actually I'm not going to pop in anything. Let's look at this template here for a minute. So here's the middle. That's what this line is. Normally, you're going to take up at least half of the page, like I am here. Sometimes left, sometimes the right. Sometimes you might have something like the shoulder or something overlap over here on the right, like in some of my other examples. But this is something that we believe we discussed in another video already. Right now, I just want to focus on the text. So here's some advice on how to get things started. First off, use the guides that I already have here. So I'm going to create, you can do a 2 or 3 column layout. I'm just going to suggest a 2 column. So let's go ahead and draw this guy right here. Here we go. We'll say that's a column. See, I'm spanning 3. Then I'm going to click what's called the output right here, this little white box. Click. See how it loads? And then I'm going to draw a second guy that's going to span 3 columns. Boom, let that go. And I'm going to right click and fill the placeholder with text. Alright. As you can see, that looks pretty terrible. It's actually not very attractive. Not too excited yet. I'm going to try to make this even a little bit more interesting. What's cool is that these are actually running into each other. By the way, if I click here, that's the import right there. I could actually draw another paragraph right here that goes all the way across. It's up to you if you want to do that or not. I think I'm going to attempt it just to show you it can be done. So you could have a little creative layout right here. I'll probably end up deleting that because I don't think it's the best idea in the world, but let's just stick with 2 columns because I'm not trying to make this super complicated for you, but I want it to look good. Let's get down to it. You want room for a great big giant heading, and I suggest you put a subheading underneath it. But when I look this guy up, I guess this guy's Hercules. I don't know. He looks like well, frankly, he looks like Jesus to me, except he's got a dark beard. But all right, we'll just call him Hercules. So I'm just gonna click once and type out the word Hercules. Hercules, right? Yeah, it's an old Eddie Murphy reference. Forget it. Just forget it. Not gonna go there. All right, so this looks terrible, right? I mean, it really does look bad because we haven't done any formatting to it. I do want to mention also we're supposed to put a pull quote in here, so we need to make space for it. So I'm going to plan ahead for that quote to be. I'm going to put it down here. Why not? When I say down here, I mean I want to put it like right there. Kind of like to make it look like it's kind of connected with this guy as if he's saying it. So I'm just going to put it there. Now I'm going to do something radical. I'm going to go ahead and create a nice solid color right there. Nice solid color background. I'll eyedrop this nice looking brown right here. There we have it. There's a weird rendering issue that just went on right there with my computer. You probably saw it too. Just ignore it. All right, there we go. Doesn't that look good? Send this to the back, Control Shift left bracket. Still not seeing anything. The reason is probably I'm guessing because the text is black. Let's make the text white. And I'll switch the background back to black again. Let's send this back to the back. There we go. Now that's starting to make sense. Now, I'm not telling you to do this knockout thing where you've got a dark background and white text. It's actually not done that often. I guess I'm just bored and want to do something a little bit different. Starting to look like something. But below here, I'm going to have some stuff too. But I'll put that on another line. This is just dumb. I'll say the man, the myth. Ugh. I'm disgusted with myself writing this, but I'm going to do it. Taking the point size down, let's say 36. The myth, the legend. Wow, that was really unoriginal. Whatever. It's really not about the heading or anything. And I'm trying to keep it simple. Use the rule of alignment here. Keep everything lined up real nice. I'd like to be more creative than this, but we've got a heading, we've got a subheading. Then underneath that, we'll give the author credit. By, let's say, John or Jane Doe. Let's not be sexist, right? There's a lot of John Does. We need Jane Doe here. And this point size will be a lot smaller for this. By the way, this typography is pretty lame so far. It's kind of like cutting down a tree. This is just this is simply the tree before we've done any refinement to it at all. Now that I got the columns kind of set up, I can change it up, turn off those guys that drive me nuts. That looks prettier, right? Ooh, pretty. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just kidding around. All right, there we go. I don't know where that gray edge came from right there, but I don't think I have time to deal with it. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so here's some things to consider. Important things. We need space between our paragraphs, and we don't want to work with 12-point type. All right, so how do we add space between our paragraphs? We open up our paragraph options. Should be here, or they might be over here in your properties panel. You might have to click on this guy to open up more options. Worst case, go to Window and find your paragraph deals. It should be hidden in here somewhere. Trying to cover this because they're constantly changing this stuff. So I don't want you to be like, I can't find that at home, Eugene. This isn't fair. It's in here somewhere. I don't know where it is. Come on, where are you? Type. Yes, it must be under type. And paragraph. Okay? There we go. Wow, that was painful. So paragraph. And this is how you indent paragraphs. We don't care about that. We don't want to indent the first line of our paragraphs. We just want to add some space either before or after. I'll add it after. It won't affect the first paragraph regardless. And there we go. The other thing I like to do is take these down to like 10 point. Now the spacing is still looking kind of ridiculous. So 14 points is probably too much. So let's change that up. Starting to look better. Myriad Pro is super typical. It's great to grab something non-traditional. Well, it should still be a classic typeface, but something a little less common. But I don't have time to choose anything that's not super common right now. I'm not going to go out and... Normally, I'd go out on to Google Fonts and find something that had several family members to make this thing work. I really just don't want to take the time to do that today. I'm just going to go with plain old Book Antiqua here and set this to regular. Okay? Plenty of books use this classic time-tested typeface. Ooh, isn't that looking nice? And we're going to take a look at this. We got the space between the paragraphs. And we want to avoid any what you call danglers or widow lines where, you know, stuff like this where you've just got like one word hanging there. That stuff looks bad. Don't be afraid to have a ragged right and a flush left. Super common, not a big deal. But doesn't that look better already? Come on. I think you got to agree. Now for Hercules right here, I'm going to pick out something real simple. Super common. Hoping that it's on my computer. Trajan. Are you on here, Trajan? Really? All they got is this? Look at this. I guess it sort of works. I don't know if it's going to pop out that well, though. I'm not sure if I like that or not. Right now I'm like afraid I spelled Hercules wrong. Ugh, I hope not. Okay, we're going to grab some other typeface that is a little bit more friendly. Yeah, that'll work. Hercules. I'll take the point size down a little bit more so this fits a little better. 72, okay? That's pretty cool. And then for the man, the myth, and the legend, we can pick out another one. Copper plate, Gothic light. I avoided Trajan, which is something I thought about using, which is the most common movie font. If you took the typography class, you probably know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm trying to do something different. I don't like how wide this font is, but you know, whatever. I'll live with it. And for by Jane Doe here, Jane, we're gonna pick out what was that font I used for this? Book Antiqua. We'll just stick with Book Antiqua. We don't want to work with too many fonts. It's one of the rules you learned in the typography class. Yeah, we'll grab this bold version of Book Antiqua, but we'll still take the point size down. You know. It's important to give the author some credit, but you don't have to go nuts. I'm going to drag that down a little bit. I'm pressing Alt and the down arrow to change the leading here. This is completely separate from that because I thought at some point I might make a copy of this so I have that. I always make a copy of any of my type like that just in case I want to figure out what I used later if I open it on a different computer. Even if that font's not loaded on a different computer, it'll still tell me the name if I click on the text frame. But once I right-click and create outlines, you know, I'm stuck. Like that is a shape now, and there's nothing I can do about it. So, I don't know if I'm going to do anything with this, but if I did want to do anything with this, I could go inside and kind of modify these letters, you know. Could find some way. I've got some ideas, but I'm not going to really overthink it right now. The bottom line is this is starting to look okay. It doesn't look too bad. And for this next part, I'm going to turn this back on. The guides, that is. I'm going to draw myself a little text frame here. No, not a text frame. It's just a frame. But I'm going to put text in it, so cool. But I don't think I'm going to make it a text frame necessarily. All right, now to go turn this off. See, that's where my pull quote is going to go. I'm going to pop that in there. Yeah, this is starting to look like a real article. Now, there's more stuff you can do to make this article look cooler, trust me, but I'm really just trying to be a bit basic in this example. All right, just real basic. Okay, so I could draw myself a text frame, or I could just click. Depends if I want to center or not. I guess I'll draw myself a text frame. Why not? There we go. So this is going to be my margin. Keep that in mind. Now you can inset text frames in here if you're familiar with that. But some students taking this class have not taken digital page layout, so I'm going to teach a hillbilly quick way to do this. Not that hillbillies are bad, but they get stuff done. As long as it works, right? So what font do I want to use here? I'm going to just stick with Book Antiqua Bold, and I'll take this up. Take the point size way up. Why not? Just like that. I'm not sure what quote I want to use here. I'm just gonna stick with the Lorem Ipsum that's already here. The Latin. Why not? Now, here's some things I want to point out about pull quotes. And how much stuff is in here? Come on. Okay, that much stuff. All right, I can handle that. If you double click and get your cursor blinking after you unload that cursor, press Control, Shift, and End. And sometimes this works. I don't have an end on my keyboard. I can't press End. I'm on my laptop. But if you press End, or it'll kind of select everything that you wanted to destroy. Or I could stop being an idiot and just do what I just did. So there we go. By the way, don't call yourself an idiot. I shouldn't do it either. You know, be nice to yourself. Nobody else will. See all these dashes, hyphens is what they're called. Get rid of those things. You don't want hyphens. Now you could go in there and press Shift Enter and put in soft returns if you want. If you want to see what that stuff looks like, you can turn on your hidden characters. See where it says show hidden characters? You can see all those characters. You guys that took typography, which you probably have by now, you know what you're looking at there. But, you know, you can press Shift Enter. You'd be like, well, I want this to go down to the next line and go like that. And you could keep going. That would be okay. The other thing that you could do is just turn hyphens off. So if I go to paragraphs and I turn off hyphenate, it'll stop putting hyphens in there. You know. But you'll probably still want to fix this stuff because look how staggered and weird this all looks. So let's, I might end up using the condensed typeface here. I'm not loving this. I got to tell you the truth. You know, not that I normally lie to you. Let me add some glamorous space between here and here, and we'll take that up to 15 points. Why not? And then I'll put some author credit right here. I'll do a little squiggly. It's called a tilde. And I'll say author name. You know, wow. Being real creative there, right? Take this, make this regular. I could make it italic, I guess. No, I'll just stick with regular. Italic is an emphasis thing that I don't know that it needs that. Okay, now I'm like wondering what the heck happened there. Book Antiqua, come on, just regular, okay? Give me a break. But if I press tab, that could be good. Or I could just align this to the right. That might be kind of cool. But no, I hate that. I'm keeping it over here to the left. Now, if you put quotes like that in here, make sure you hang those quotes. And I suggest that you get some pretty typography quotes. Now, that means curly quotes. This font, which only has 4 members of the family, it doesn't have what I want. So I'm just not even going to do it. But I will mention that if you want to indent this, don't worry about it. If you're really desperate to do this, if you haven't taken the extra class, the typography class, you could just go like that. I'm pressing Shift Enter here, and then just spacing this over and eyeballing it. This would do a decent job, maybe not the best job in the world. And if you wanted curly quotes, you could select this and just literally pick out a different font until you found a good-looking curly quote. Yeah, I feel like a bad person sharing this stuff after teaching the typography class. You know, this isn't the typography class. We're just kind of quickly trying to get this done, and I hope you get what I'm saying. All right. So I'll just make this smaller, this whole text frame, just like that. See, watch how easy this is to fix. And there we go. Here's my little pull quote. I'll line this up at the bottom of that, and just make this one a little bit bigger. And then I'll go check all these. See, I don't want this happening here. This is called a widow line. It's the beginning of a paragraph, and then the rest is disconnected. I'm sorry, not a widow line, but a orphan. Let's get rid of that. Orphans, widows, just call them danglers. It's a good way to do it. Type, turn off, show hidden characters, and I'm liking this. It's looking pretty good. You know, I might take this guy, move him up a little bit higher, and do that. Make sure this is formatted nicely. I don't see any danglers in here. Adequate space between the paragraphs. The font's not too big. There's more stuff I could do for sure. You know, I'm positive there's more stuff I could do. I'm not 100% in love with this, but it looks passable. You know, if we want to do something fancier, I'll make another video about getting a little fancier. But this is pretty good. You know, I don't hate it, and I hope that you take my advice, because this can really affect your grade if it doesn't look professional. If you've got giant weirdo fonts over here and the typefaces are too big, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I will mention one more thing, I suppose. You know, some people choose to justify, and justifying columns like this is risky. So justifying might look like this. Doesn't that look terrible? Like, look at that. Wow. Right? Total garbage. You know, to avoid that, never ever click justify all lines. Just justify everything but the last line. It'll look a little bit better. But you can see this column's too short. There's different spaces between each word. Big spaces. They get smaller and smaller as the columns get a little wider. It becomes more tolerable, but this isn't really tolerable. So with this particular font, this particular width column would not suggest this. So I'm going to take that back to a nice left align with a ragged right. Just make sure that the right isn't too ragged. By the way, it's okay to have some hyphens here, as long as you don't have a million hyphens. And it's already preset to help you avoid doing that. But there you have it. There's the advice I wanted to give you. I hope you find it helpful.